Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Arjun and WandaVision ended about a week ago and I had time to process things. So today I'm going to rank every single episode of WandaVision. Right, so going into this, I just want to say I enjoyed all of these episodes. I think just some of them are better than the other ones. That's why I ranked them the way I did. So with that said, be sure to tell me down below in the comments where you would rank all of these episodes. Obviously, we're going to have different opinions. Let's just keep it respectful. So with that said, let's get started with the ranking. So coming down at my number 9 is going to be episode 7, Breaking the Fourth Wall. Now, this is a perfectly watchable episode. I actually enjoyed a lot, but I feel like out of all of these episodes, this is the one that fell flat the most. Why? Because it's based off of The Office and Modern Family, so I'd expect something related to those shows. So I'd expect the family to be together. I'd expect to see more of Vision in his workplace, but we didn't see that, which was kind of disappointing because I wanted to see that, especially because it was based off of those sitcoms. And for me, the humor didn't quite land for me. Obviously, we had them talking to the audience, breaking the fourth wall, but I did not like the humor. I wasn't really laughing. This is the episode I laughed the least out of every episode in this show. And Agatha all along.
And I killed Sparky too.
That's a great little song. I really like that song. I've been listening to it a lot recently, but I don't think it saves the episode as a whole. Number 8 is going to be episode 1, filmed before a live studio audience. Now, this episode just randomly took two Avengers and placed them in a sitcom. We have no explanation, no context, it's just happening. So, this episode is like very cleverly written. The writing is really good. And as we go into the dialogue, there's like double meanings to everything they say in this episode. Like, they say a line of dialogue, but it could mean 2 or 3 different things. It's the same with like the first 2 to 3 episodes, and I really enjoyed that about this show. And as we go into that final dinner sequence, it's just kind of has that Twilight Zone aesthetic to it, and it feels kind of creepy. And it just builds up the intrigue. So as we go into the later episodes and we get answers, it pays off very well. Number 7 is going to be episode 2, Don't Touch That Dial. Now, this is a continuation of episode 1 because it is a sitcom and it just does the same thing again, except it's in the 60s this time. Now, this one took everything from the first episode and just cranked it up another notch. So the humor is much more funny and we have more intriguing moments. Obviously, we have that scene where Dottie's hand gets cut and we have red color blood and we see more color, and at the final sequence we have the beekeeper guy show up. So there's a lot of intrigue, and as we go into that talent show sequence, I really like that scene. It's like one of my favorite parts of the sitcom stuff in this series. Number 6 is going to be episode 3, Now in Color. Now, this is where the show really started to kick for me. This is where I started enjoying it more. I was invested in the story, and I really started to love this show after this episode. Here we have Vision and Wanda starting a family, and the most intriguing aspect about this episode was that we start seeing Vision learning more about what's happening in the Westview area. Also, we get confirmed that Wanda is the one that's controlling all of this. And as we go into that final sequence where Vision is talking to the neighbors and Monica gets kicked out by Wanda, it's a very creepy, weird scene. And after Monica gets kicked out, we see what's going on in the real world. It's a very cool episode. And this is where it started to kick for me. And there's just a lot of whoa moments. Number 5 is going to be Episode 4, We Interrupt This Program. Now, this is a completely exposition-heavy episode. It gives us context, it gives us more information about what's going on in Westview, and it just throws information at us. In this context of this show, it works. It has a really great opening scene with the blip and how they did all of that with Monica and how her mother died. It's a heartbreaking scene, but it also works because we start seeing the dark side of what happened during the blip. We also learn more about the SWORD organization, and we see all the context for all the symbols that we've been seeing in the first 2 episodes. And Jimmy Woo learns how to do the card trick in the... Should we take that again? What? You want me to do the trick properly. What? Alright, let's just move on. By the way, that's also the greatest character arc in the entire MCU.
Sir, can you knock?
James E. Woo, FBI.
I also really enjoyed Darcy and Monica in this episode, so I really liked how this episode played out for the most part. So, hinted by that last weird thing I did, my number 4 pick is going to be episode 5, on a very special episode. Now, this episode is completely like, it's a sitcom, and it is a real world episode. So it does a great job of balancing both sides of the story, and I really enjoy the fun family dynamic of it. We obviously have the kids who are really fun, and I enjoyed seeing them. And as we go into the later episodes when they have bigger roles, I feel like it just has more of an impact. And Vision, this is where Vision starts exploring Westview. He realizes something's wrong in episode 3, and here he starts exploring stuff, and we get that scene where he talks to this one person without Wanda being in control, and it's a scary scene, which eventually leads into the final sequence where Vision and Wanda, they're fighting, yelling at each other, and then boom, there's a knock on the door, Quicksilver shows up. That ended up becoming very disappointing, but he still showed up. Kicking off my top 3 is going to be episode 8, Previously On. Now this again is an exposition heavy episode. It gives us a lot of information. It tells us how the Hex Westview anomaly started, and I feel like it does a good job of doing that. This one digs deeper into Wanda's past, explores her grief, her trauma, and the tragedy of her life. It is a very emotional episode.
I can't feel you.
And there's some really cool sequences throughout it. We obviously get this Scarlet Witch name drop, the name reveal, which was very cool when I first saw it. I do feel like there were some answers given that could have been better. It was disappointing. But the biggest reason why it's not at number 2 or number 1 is because it's not placed right. It's the second to last episode, and I feel like that should be giving us more answers than giving us more exposition, because it's not concluding the story, it's just throwing exposition at us and telling us how this started. And it's kind of like a prequel because we go into past movies and explore Wanda's past. So I do feel like that was an issue, but other than that, this is a great episode. Our runner-up is going to be the series finale, episode 9. This episode gives a pretty satisfying conclusion to this whole series, which I have been a huge fan of. And this one really involves Wanda fighting her temptations, because she's tempted to keep her family alive, but if she does that, she's holding a bunch of people hostage. So there's just some really back and forth stuff with Wanda, and I feel like it also does a good job exploring her character. And by the time we get to the end of it, it's a very emotional ending as the kids fade away and Vision's gone. It's sad, but it does a good job providing a satisfying conclusion. I also really enjoyed White Vision versus Vision. That was a great fight, and as we go into that library sequence where they're talking about the ship of Theseus and resolving the conflict peacefully, it's a fun little episode. I'm really excited to see where White Vision's character goes, because technically he is Vision, like he said. So I'm interested to see where that goes. I liked that this episode wasn't a happy ending because Vision did die and the kids were gone. So it has a really emotional impact. And yeah, so I really liked this episode. My biggest issue with it was the whole Ralph reveal. I feel like it would have been great if they made him Quicksilver, but they decided to do that, and I did not enjoy that at all. But coming in at first place as the best episode of WandaVision is episode 6, All New Halloween Spooktacular. Now, this was a great follow-up to episode 5, which again, I really enjoyed. And this is the one with the Halloween episode, so there's some fun Halloween stuff going on when they're trick-or-treating. And the kids start to get powers, which I liked seeing, and it plays a bigger role into the later episode. And here is where we get to see Wanda's impact on everything that's going on in Westview. Vision goes on this trip, I guess, to just see everything that's going on, and we see a bunch of people just frozen and some people just repeating the same things that they're doing, and it's a disturbing episode as some of them just start tearing up while doing what they're doing, and just Wanda's controlling them. It's just so heartbreaking to see. And I loved seeing Wanda being manipulated by fake Pietro, or who we later learn is Ralph. I liked seeing that, and this overall is the episode that had everything I enjoyed about this series: the family dynamic, the outside world, and obviously the Halloween stuff was great. Vision exploring Westview, it had everything I wanted, so it comes in at number 1. Alright, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Subscribe to my channel if you want more content like this. And comment down below in the comments what you thought of all of these episodes and how you would rank them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. There we go. I did it.